This is Office Hours, where the brightest entrepreneurial minds in business, sports, and entertainment get together to talk about success, failure, and everything in between. Take a deep dive into the mindset it takes to excel as our unbelievable hosts and guests share with you the strategies and tools they've used to dominate their respective fields. On this episode of Office Hours, CJ McCollum, Clinton Sparks, Ray J, Ja Rule, and Britton Hill.
I want to make everybody look like all-stars, even if I got to do half your job.
It's a lot of space for growth.
Have you thought about NFTs with your wine, actually?
I have.
You don't know what you don't know, so you hire experts.
You seem to be an extraordinary listener.
Part of being a good investor is being a good listener, because that's how you catch on to trends.
The foundation is business. Know your business.
David Meltzer hosts Office Hours. We have some amazing guests coming up. But first, let me introduce you to our host, David Meltzer. Growing up with a single mother who raised 6 kids, David was driven to be rich so he could take care of his mom and buy her a house and a car. After graduating law school, he became a multi-millionaire and fulfilled that dream, only to lose that house, car, and over $100 million due to bankruptcy. Thanks to his resilience, David has been able to make it all back and more, evolving into one of the world's top serial entrepreneurs and esports investors. Today, he's on a mission to empower over 1 billion people to be happy, providing as much value as possible in everything he does. Let's go to this week's Executive Spotlight. Each week, we'll be interviewing the top entrepreneurs and executives, sharing their personal playbook to success and the lessons they've learned along the way. Britton Hill is a partner and founder of Weber Global Management, a venture capitalist and philanthropist with early investments in companies like Airbnb and SoFi. He became an avid investor at a young age, quickly learning the key to smart investing lies in risk management, analysis of global trends, tracking advancements in government and Federal Reserve policy, and strengthened personality. This strategy made Britton a multi-millionaire by age 25.
Welcome to Office Hours. I'm David Meltzer, and I'm here with my Executive Spotlight, Britton Hill, President and Partner of Weber Global Management. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
So you're too young to take care of my money. That's what I'm thinking as you're in here, and I'm sure you have faced that objection multiple times in your career, but yet you are doing extremely well, not only for yourself, but for so many of your financial clients. How do you overcome that, hey man, are you kidding me? I'm not gonna let you manage my money.
Sure, I mean, it's a valid concern. If I were anybody else and I was looking at some 26-year-old saying, okay, you're gonna manage my money for real, I would be hesitant. But one thing that we do have is Chris Weber, my business partner. He's 66, he's been at this for half a century, so his credibility helps. But from a personal standpoint, what I found is I have to carry myself really well. And because people they're skeptical. This isn't, I mean, money is more than just money. It's their lifestyle, it's their retirement, it's their legacy they're leaving to their kids, and so it's a big deal. And so I know that I'm under a fine-tooth comb. They're hyper-focused on me, making, just waiting for me to slip up. So I have to make sure that I carry myself very well. I don't act like a normal 26-year-old. I'm not partying like crazy and going out and doing all sorts of things that would...
All the stuff I did when I was your age?
Yeah, most people are doing it at my age, which is fine. It's fun, but for me, if I want to maintain my credibility, maintain the image, I got to be very careful with how I carry myself, what I do, and I need to be able to hang on the level with my clients. Talk to them about things they're interested in, make sure I know what's going on in their lifestyles, and then being able to convey that so that they can see.
So, Britton, as a middle-aged, well-off, affluent executive. What if, I did like you, I like the firm, the credibility of the firm itself, but yet I'm a little bit worried you're too young, and I say, you know what, Britton, I'm gonna give you $1 million. What are you gonna do for me?
This is where our expertise really shows. We start diving into your financial picture, because no two people's financial situations are alike. It's like a fingerprint. I mean, some guys have all their money in private placements. Some guys have all their money in stock shares of their company. Other people just have cash in the bank, and some people it's completely in their house. Then you have guys with a lot of money who have everything everywhere. And so really what it takes is gaining an understanding of where you're at, and then looking at potential vulnerabilities. Oh man, David, you got a lot of money right here. Maybe we should consider offsetting that by hedging, by purchasing real estate or things like that. And then we start talking about, okay, where do you want to go? What concerns do you have? What keeps you up at night? And we go from there. And I think that initial evaluation really kind of helps help people get over those anxieties, because then they can see, okay, you know what, he's listening, he understands, he knows what he's doing, and so that's really helped.
You know, you said a key component of why I think older executives, affluent individuals don't do business with 26-year-olds, because not only are they out there publicly partying and with social media, it's quite apparent to us that they're not focused, they haven't matured, but they're not listening, right? I have a philosophy about 3 types of listeners. Young people are either interrupters, where they interrupt everything I say, or 2, they're waiters, which is worse to me, where they're just waiting to tell me what they think, but they're not listening to me. You seem to be an extraordinary listener. Although you dropped out of college, most people, would say, whoa, well, you dropped out of college, you're not a good learner, you're not a good listener. I personally don't believe that. How have you evolved and acquired those listening skills that you have been credible with, literally over $1 billion in management?
I've always just really loved people. That was my favorite aspect of our company. And when we set up the business, Chris, my business partner, he prefers to be in the background. He prefers to just be analyzing, looking at the books, analyzing companies, and just managing the assets, where I really love the client-facing side. I love getting to know people. I love talking with our clients, because when you get into the realm of the ultra high net worth and people that have a lot of money, a lot of the times it's because they did something really interesting or they did something really well. And so you get to learn a lot. And for me, that was almost my education. It came from a genuine excitement of listening to people. And then the more you listen to people, the more you realize how much you don't know, the more you learn. And so much of investing for me is figuring out, what are the masses doing? What are people doing? What are people thinking about? Where are they putting their money? Because that's when you kind of get clues like, okay, this guy who knows a lot about investing is talking about this, versus this person who doesn't know very much about investing, they're saying they're doing this. And so you start to weigh those things. And I think that part of being a good investor is being a good listener, because that's how you catch on to trends and what's going on.
And in the financial services industry, I find it very similar to the direct selling or multi-level marketing industry in one respect. This is America. And regardless of what your beliefs, perception is about America, there's one thing I know to be true about America, is that if you have nothing, there's no other country in the world, if you have nothing, that you have an opportunity to make unlimited amounts of money.
Sure.
Unlimited. And a lot of it relies on the aspect of your ability to consistently, persistently pursue your potential, or your grind.
Right.
And I feel that if a young person is going to drop out of high school or college and their goal or objective is to make a lot of money, that financial services of building a book of business through listening and liking people and leveraging other people's analytical genius, and or direct marketing or multi-level marketing, where you're using someone else's products, marketing, distribution, and you're just building a network below you, both have an annuity that if you start young enough, it's almost a guarantee. If you work efficiently, effectively with statistical success, by the time you're 30, you'll be a multi-millionaire. You've banged it out before you were 26. What would you tell a 17-year-old that's about to drop out of high school and says, look, I'll do anything it takes to make money. I want to learn from you, shadow you. Can you mentor me? What would you tell that young guy?
The first thing I would tell them is, don't try to hit a home run out of the gate, because I feel like that's the mistake that so many young investors make. They see the Bitcoins popping off, they see Tesla going to the moon, they see these Reddit stocks and things like that, and they gear up to hit a home run. They're gonna take their $500 they got from their paper route and they're gonna turn it into $10 million to buy tomorrow morning, and you end up blowing it. So for me, my approach has always been consistent returns. I'm gonna keep working my job. I'm gonna keep investing, for the long run. I'm gonna keep focusing on long-term macro trends, that as long as I'm on the right side of a long-term bull market, I'm gonna make money, and I'm gonna make a lot of money. And each year I'm gonna make more and more money as my compound takes effect. And so what I would tell to a young person is, listen, don't try to hit that home run, be consistent, focus on a long-term financial plan, a long-term bull market, and just keep grinding. And one day you're gonna wake up and your account daily value and just the daily movement is gonna be more than you made the entire year before.
Last question. There's a lot of people that don't understand crypto. They don't understand Robinhood. They don't understand Reddit. And yet they see people making a lot of money in a short amount of time. I understand a certain amount of money, but my wife, for example, has a relative, and he tells me, buy this stock, it's going to 5,000. Just the mere fact that the valuation, if it went to 5,000, would be the richest company in the world, and the business model doesn't warrant it ever being the most valuable company in the world. What do you say when people come to you, with these short-term, unrealistic, unfounded beliefs because their brother-in-law told them this stock's going to 5,000, or buy Ethereum because they have the inside scoop, or the NFT situation, by fall I get the big thing this summer, right? Oh yeah, crypto's it's in a lull, but just wait till this fall, and then when the fall comes, it's some other story why we didn't get a big rush.
Normally what I do is I just say, wow, you could be right, because I found that it's just futile to argue with some people on that regard, and I never want to argue with anybody, and they could be right.
Right,
Who
I love
am I
that.
to say,
Small percentage, but they could be right.
I talked one of our clients out of holding Tesla when it was like $50 a share, and so that was I learned the hard way on that one, because he would have made a lot more money had he not taken my advice. So you could be right, but what I want to say a lot of the time is, and what I will, if I am actually genuinely curious, I just ask, tell me more, or how. That you say it's going to 5,000 a share. How? What did you hear? Like I said, they could be right. I'm not too proud to say that this guy's not as smart as I am. He probably is smarter than me. I didn't go to college, so who knows? But, so you ask questions. Tell me more. How? Dig deeper. See if it actually has any basis. Most of the time, once you start asking those questions, they themselves realize, I actually don't really know how, other than this guy told me that it was going there. And it's like, okay, well, maybe we want to do some more research and figure it out. But, very simple questions. Usually, if somebody's coming to you and telling you, all right, yeah, buy this stock, it's going here, it's going big, ask them how. Tell me more. Express excitement, not in a condescending way, like, hey, I know more than you, or, in a place of genuine curiosity. And because I think curiosity is another hallmark of a good investor. You have to be curious and willing to learn more, especially from other people. And
you have to trust and vet.
Yes.
Right? I think that too many people just trust, and it was one of my downfalls is I lost over $100 million, is I trust people, but I wouldn't vet them.
Sure.
And what I learned is I vet the crap out of people. I ask more questions out of curiosity, but also out of asking the hard questions. Especially in your position, right? When someone gives you some information and it just doesn't make sense, it's hard to ask someone a harder question like, well, how would this happen? Or, what's the value of this? And to ask those hard questions, it seems to me that, although you dropped out of college, you have a lot of emotional intelligence, but you also have some sound disciplines that allow you to continue to be inspired, to continue to grow and learn as you go, even though, you probably have enough money right now just to retire and fly your private jets to wherever you want to go. Is there something that does keep you grinding every day, just like you did when you started?
Yeah, really what it was is slowing down. I got to a point where business was under control, clients weren't really calling, things were going well, and it got to a point where it's like, okay, let's take some more time off, and a couple months of let's just take a little time off. It's COVID, nothing's happening, let's chill. And you get so bored. And
Tell me about it.
I got so freaking bored, and it was like, I don't care. Take all my money away, make me do it again, because it was fun.
Don't say that, cancel.
Yeah, sorry, don't do that. But you get the idea. The joy and the satisfaction, all the excitement was in building something and growing something and meeting people and connecting and networking. And it wasn't necessarily just having the money and flying around. It's like, yeah, that's great, that's fun, but it gets old. And so for me, it's just I have this inner drive, this inner ambition, and then the desire that, I want to be able to look back on my life and not see these periods and these gaps where, man, that was like squandered potential. That was a wasted few years. I want to be able to say that I grinded through it all. I did a lot. I made mistakes, but I learned from them, and I created something good. I made a good name for myself, and now I have a great legacy to leave my family.
You are wise beyond your years. Britton Hill.
Thank you.
He is the president and partner of Weber Global Management, an incredible spotlight. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, David.
I'm going to send you that million to make me more millions.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back on Office Hours.
Welcome back to Office Hours. I'm David Meltzer with my incredible host. It's my buddy here, Ed McMahon. Jason Waller, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Jason Waller is the CEO of Power Home Solar, and of course, the top podcast, the True Underdog podcast. And one of my mentors, Joni Rogers Conte. She's the founder, chairman, CEO of Senegence, and of course, There he is, Michael Kralivsky, and he is the founder and CEO of Creatify, and Creatify is the way to create, buy, and sell NFTs, which we're gonna have to talk after the show, and maybe we'll get CJ to comment on NFTs as well. Maybe we'll get him to create one for us, and we'll pay for the whole show.
That would be amazing.
Awesome.
Our first guest is CJ McCollum, NBA player and founder of McCollum Heritage 91.
Out of the bubble, into the league. How are you doing, CJ?
I'm doing well, man. I appreciate you shouting me out and bringing me back on the show.
Well, I'm going to talk about being a current player and an entrepreneur. It's one thing to make the transition from playing into entrepreneurship, but there's a lot of intention and attention that goes into be one of the NBA greats like you are. But yet, how do you find the time to have a side hustle like McCollum Heritage 91?
I think that when you wake up earlier, you're able to get things done, more things done, especially before noon, whether that's for me. Obviously, I have to train, I have to work out. And also, like you said before, I have a lot of businesses that I'm involved in. So I just try to wake up early, and I also hire people who are competent enough and smart enough to do the things that I may not be able to do behind the scenes. Being able to kind of rely on people is extremely important in this business. You have to have people you trust, and you have to also know what you don't know. So I hire experts for a lot of things, and they can execute behind the scenes, and I can kind of micromanage from afar.
That seems to be the theme, right? So CJ, we talk to entrepreneurs on the show, and a lot of people that transition, like you're an athlete, to be an entrepreneur, you don't know what you don't know, so you hire experts. That's the best thing you can do, to have that humility and to be able to put your pride and ego aside. When did you realize, when you were opening up your business, that you needed help? And what was that like to find the help?
I think in 2016, when I started really diving into wine and started talking about potential partnerships with vineyards and what that would look like, I called one of my wine advisors, Lloyd Davis, out of Sonoma, Corner 103, and he kind of broke it down. Basically saying that, hey, you're a basketball player full time. One of the reasons why this venture will be successful is because of your basketball. So, in a sense, people always say, don't lose track of your your main job, working on your side job. So the better you are at your sport, the easier it'll be to sell wine. So I kind of took that to heart and really worked on my craft, but also worked at wine, asking questions, speaking to my winemaker, Gina, kind of going, through the realm of wine, watching documentaries on Netflix, reading books, just kind of diving into it, because it's something that you never truly fully understand or know. But before I put my name on something, I want to be able to kind of explain certain things about it. I want to be able to speak to the Pinot Noir that I put out in 2018. And I kind of refused to put out other wines because I wasn't educated on them. And then I learned about rosé. I put a rosé out. I learned about Chardonnay. I put a Chardonnay out. Working on a Blanc de Blanc, and kind of went in that approach because, as he said before, I'm a hooper first and foremost. But I do love wine, and I understand that my winemaker is more of an expert than I am. And Lloyd, who's in the wine business, 15 plus years, is more of an expert than I am. And Gary from Stoller Vineyards, he's more of an expert than I am. So I rely on all those different people, the same way someone would rely on me to learn about basketball.
That's awesome.
Well, CJ, what makes your wine, your brand, unique?
I think it's authentic. From the design and the label, this is the rosé we put out a few months ago. My wife actually introduced me to wine, so I put her favorite flower on there, the Anthurium flower. The name of it, McCollum Heritage 91, obviously I'm big on heritage. I'm big on my last name and being able to create a legacy. So that was important for me to incorporate in the wine. I also grew up on Heritage Avenue as a kid. So I think from the name of it to the design to the bottle to where it's from, obviously me playing in Portland for the Portland Trail Blazers, I've been exposed to the Chehalem Mountains. I've been exposed to the Willamette Valley, all the way down to the details of what I originally released was volcanic soil, which was the first type of Pinot that I kind of gravitated towards out here in Oregon, tasting Walter Scott's Pinots and being able to go to Walter Scott and talk to the winemakers there and the owners there to kind of learn about, why I like volcanic soil. I've been kind of taking that to Gina and saying, hey, out of all the wines I've tasted, I've done blind tastings. We did a blind tasting before I released my Pinot, and I chose all volcanic soils. So we put those three into a blend, and that's how I put out my first wine. So it's just all authentic in terms of what I've gone through to where I'm at now.
I'm very impressed with how you came from being 5'2" in high school to becoming one of the best NBA players and now launching a wine brand and being interested in NFTs. Have you thought about NFTs with your wine actually?
I have, and this is fate. This is great timing because I've been talking about doing some different things with the wine in the sense of obviously releasing it, kind of marking the order of how many bottles are going to be. Obviously, I kind of control what's released to the public, how many bottles are released to the public, understanding the importance of me being number 3, being able to kind of control the third bottle that goes out. There's so many things that I've thought about doing, but I haven't acted on yet. So we are in the perfect space to discuss this now and later, because I have thought about it. I have a Pinot actually coming out around my birthday, September. I'll probably release it, either September 17th, 2 days before my birthday, or the Monday after my birthday. I say great things happen in September, so I consistently try to do that. But I'd love to hear more about ways I can execute this.
I also notice and know that you read a lot, which is probably less common than playing esports or gaming while you're on the road or in the bubble. What's your favorite book and why?
It's a great question, and I haven't read it yet, but it's on deck.
That was staged.
So historically, I've gravitated towards Bob Goff. Love Does is one of my favorite books of all time just because of what it stands for, what it's about, the process of obviously, some of his struggles, some of the things he's gone through, some of the quotes he puts in there, how he references his faith. I gravitated towards Bob Goff very, 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 very early on. So I would say he has one of my favorite books, Ryan Holiday. I believe it's called The Obstacle is the Way. That's one of my favorite books. I read that when I was going through some struggles on the basketball court, trying to figure out, how to overcome shooting slumps, time management, balancing family, the demands of life in general. And he kind of relates a lot of things that I kind of practice now, meditation, obviously, being a schedule-oriented person where I kind of map out my days, being able to kind of deal with certain traumas that we may go through and how to kind of overcome some of those things. And I think the stoicism and some of that stuff is very important to me, and I could relate to those 2 books for sure. I have a lot of books. I'm a big Malcolm Gladwell fan as well. I love Malcolm Gladwell. I've read a lot of his books.
Have you read Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich?
I have Think and Grow Rich up here, but I haven't read it. It's in my to-read pile.
I love it. We'll put it above Connected to Goodness because I actually went to the Napoleon Hill Foundation to help me write that book because that's how much impact Napoleon Hill and the book that I read every single day has had on my life. So make it the top of your pile. You'll call me and thank me. Maybe you'll send me some free wine even. So put it at the top of your pile. Jason, you got one more question for CJ?
Yeah, I would say, how hard is it to, when you become an NBA star and you're opening a business and you've got family, to balance that? You mentioned, meditation. I mean, you've got a lot of things going on. You're reading a lot. How are you finding time to balance all of that?
It's a constant struggle. It's something you never truly master. You just have to kind of make tough decisions. You try to be present when you're home. You try to focus on your career because obviously that allows you to do a lot of things that you wouldn't normally be able to do. Take care of family financially, go on vacations, be able to put people through college. Those are the type of things you're able to accomplish because of your main job. So you understand the give and take that comes with it, and your family understands the give and take that comes with it. But I think from a communication point, I think if you communicate effectively with your friends and family, your loved ones, you kind of allow them to understand the type of life that you not only are currently living, but you want to live forever. They can understand if you miss a family reunion every now and then. They can understand if you're not always answering the phone because you have goals that you want to accomplish and it includes them, but it also means that you're going to have to miss out on some things. And I've come to accept that. I try to be as present as possible when I'm there. I try to, go visit my grandma, go do those things because I understand the importance of time. But I also understand that I have a job to do. I have a job that I signed up for and I committed to. And while I'm able to perform at the highest level possible and really maximize my earning potential, I'm going to have to sacrifice. So that means, going to sleep at 9 or 10. That means getting up at 6, working out 2-3 times a day, still being able to read, still setting up my Zoom calls, still going on vacation, still walking the dog. It's hard. And sometimes you don't want to do one and you don't want to do the other. But when people truly love you, they'll understand.
No better words spoken. The legs feed the lion. I love that you focus in on what gets you there first and have that weighted balance between all the various things that you have going on. CJ, we have to do this again. After you read those 2 books, let me know. I'd love to give you more suggestions to propel you as you are on the right trajectory. CJ McCollum Heritage 91, and of course, a superstar in your program and on the court. And
look at that bottle. That bottle's almost as big as he is.
That's our first NFT right there. Make sure we reach back out to Creatify. Thanks so much, CJ. I'm glad to see you out of the bubble. Wow.
That was awesome.
It's like when I see kids like that, can I adopt you? Right?
Quality over quantity. That's what he was basically saying with his family, and he's got a job to do, but he's in control of his destiny. He's playing a sport he loves. That's his job. He's got the side hustle that he's built into a great business, and he's enjoying time with his family. And as long as you structure a schedule and it's about quality time over quantity, I think that was a great lesson.
He clearly understands the significance of the commitment he made and how many lives it impacts.
Yeah, and he values that over some other things that young people don't. So I was very impressed.
Yeah, he knows how to prioritize. That's one of the hardest things people struggle with, is what do we put on top? How do we manage our time? How do we optimize for the maximum results?
Yeah, I want to know, hanging around athletes for so long, he is one of the most articulate athletes that I've ever worked with, and just an impressive young man. I can't wait to see
he
what
reads
he does.
So much too. You see how many books he's like, I'm reading those, and I got those to read.
He reads so much. My book wasn't even on the top of his file.
By the way, that bottle I think would give you a run for what's taller, you or that bottle.
Well, I'm so excited. We'll be right back with our next guest here on Office Hours.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back on Office Hours. Next up, we've got Clinton Sparks, Grammy-nominated multi-platinum producer, DJ, songwriter, and author.
Welcome to Office Hours, Clinton. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, David Meltzer. I appreciate being here as your guest on Office Hours. Thank you for having me.
So, Clinton, I'm going to start with the conversation that we had before. There's certain people that are going to put their judgments or conditions on you. They're going to tell you what you can't do. There's haters out there, and they've been there my entire life. And how have you learned to deal with people that are negative, people that are telling you what you can't do, putting limiting beliefs, limiting obstacles in your way? You're the king of just plowing right through with what you believe. How do you do that?
Well, you asked me that question as if like that may be a problem that I have to deal with, when the reality is them not understanding my greatness isn't my problem.
I love it.
How I've dealt with people that, as you say, haters, which I don't look at them as haters, I just look at them as people that are uninformed, inexperienced, right? With the kind of mind that I have, the way that I operate, the way that I move, the way that I strategize is really different from most people that I've had experience with. And I've been around tons of people around my career. And I notice there's a small amount of people that kind of think on the frequency that I think of. And when I think like this, I don't think like this, right? And people don't understand that mentality. They don't understand how I can do so many things at once. They don't understand how I can do them well and not drop the ball and say that I'm spreading myself too thin, because they simply can't do it. So I don't look at it as like they're hating on me or they don't believe. I just look at it like they don't get it. They haven't had this experience. So let me show them so that they can now understand in the future, oh, you must be like Clinton Sparks.
You got some energy. I love energy. I see that. Is that a Roadcaster next to you? You're hitting the little buttons?
Get familiar.
Yes, it is. Get familiar.
Oh, awesome. I love it. Mine doesn't do all those things, though. I got one for the podcast. But let's talk about, you mentioned haters, and it's their problem that you're on a great mindset and that you're able to do the things you want to do, and that you think that you're great and they think that you're not. I look at haters as fuel. How many times has your success turned someone who didn't believe in you, someone who didn't like you, to somebody that's either working with you, for you, or a friend or a fan?
Well, almost every time. There's only one person that comes to mind that I think of in my mind that I won't say out loud. I pretty much turn people around all the time if they doubt me. I mean, here's the thing. Most people don't doubt how great I may be at something. They fear it. It's insecurity. Look, I can't tell you how many times I've worked with people where, because of the way I just described how I operate, they don't understand that. It might outshine them, or it might make them not look like they're as great as they are, because why is this guy who's maybe underneath you, or we should be dealing with him, well, he's the guy with all the great ideas. So like they try to suppress you. So you can't really hide dope. Dope floats, right? So if you're dope, it's gonna come up. People are gonna find out. There's no way that you can hold down this greatness or contain awesome. It just can't happen, right?
Dope floats. I love
Dope. I thought it meant something else.
that. Dope floats. I love that.
Way back when, how did you begin to put the pieces together to build the team or create the the buzz that you needed to get people to support you and jump on board to help support you and your vision?
Well, I'll say, so I wrote a new book, and it's called How to Win Big in the Music Business, right? And I say in this book that when I started out, like, I naively thought that I was going to win regardless. I didn't even think I could lose, right? So when when you come from, the bottom, and you come from trying to survive, and you come from always trying to prove yourself, and you got the, hey, Dad, look, I hit a home run syndrome, right? Like, you don't even think it like, what if I lose? Or I might lose. Your mentality is like, how do I win? There's never been a goal in my entire life that I haven't achieved, put it that way, because I'm not going to stop until I get it done. And I'll figure out how to get it done. And I don't need you to help me get there. And there's nothing you can do that's going to stop me. So it's in your best interest to just roll with me, because we're going to do it together, and we can all celebrate and high five together. And I don't even care if I did most of the work. You're going to get equal credit that I did, because guess what? I'm all about being a part of an all-star team. I don't want to just be the all-star on a bum team. I want to make everybody look like all-stars, even if I got to do half your job.
Well, I want him on my team.
Me too. Exactly. And that's actually exactly where I was going. I've had the pleasure, and I'm very humbled to have worked with Clinton over a variety of businesses. And this guy is an A-list player. This guy has brought in some of the biggest names in the industry to our companies together. We thrived at times. It was absolutely amazing. And I can't say enough good things about Clinton Sparks. I wanted to hear your thoughts, because you're always the early idea guy. You're always the innovator. You're always on the cutting edge of like what's cool and what's new and what could help change the universe. And so we started building an NFT solution about 4 or 5 years ago, and it just so happens that this January it blows up. And I've been dying to hear your thoughts, and I wanted to connect, and I was like, I'm going to wait for the show because I saw your name on it, and hear your thoughts on NFTs.
I'm all for new ways of people being able to capitalize on their IP, new ways of people figuring out how to create more revenue streams. I think there's a lot of flaws. I think that there's still a lot of holes and kinks that need to be worked out. I have a lot of answers for that, and that would take longer than probably the 30 seconds I have to answer this question. But I guess to sum it up, I'm all for new ways, especially for artists and people that work really hard, and celebrities. I'm sure brands will get into it too, that people that have an affinity for a brand. Oreo cookie one day will probably have an NFT, Hot Wheels. Like, everybody will just, anything that you can think of that you like that's part of culture or that's nostalgic or means something to culture will have NFTs. So I'm sure as we figure it out, there'll be more ways of capitalizing on it and people winning, and we'll figure out what the bad sides of it are and fix them.
I can't wait to buy the NFT of Office Hours with Clinton Sparks. Give me some sound.
Yeah. Thank you. I see you have a crowd there for me today. Yeah. They're probably going to leave by the time Ray J and Ja Rule come, but they're here for me, so thank you for coming in.
The incredible Clinton Sparks, sparking up our life. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You're awesome, man.
Nice to meet you guys. Thanks, David. You're the best.
Great to see you.
You've heard some amazing guests this episode. Now let's hear the takeaway of the day from Jason Waller, host of the True Underdog podcast.
I'm Jason Waller with your takeaway of the day. If you want to be a high achiever, it's essential that you understand how to make the most of your time. Today's guests are proof that it is quality of your time that is most important, rather than the quantity of time you spend on something.
Our next guest is Ray J, co-founder and chief strategy officer of Raycon.
My man, Ray J, co-founder and chief strategy officer of Raycon Global, bringing the music to Office Hours. How are you, my friend?
Hey, my brother. How are you, man? Good to see you.
I was so excited to talk to you here on Office Hours because a lot of people have predetermined ideas about what someone's like. And you're one of those people that blew me out of the water when I met you, because you are full of integrity, character, and an entrepreneur spirit that is very rare to find. And like I said, I love what you're doing at Raycon. You are in a crowded space, but when you are in a crowded space, you have to differentiate yourself. And usually it's the entrepreneur that does that. What do you think it is that differentiates yourself with Raycon compared to all the other, headsets out there?
Well, I think we got in early. I think it was, we're a 4-year company. And I think at the time, the over-the-ear headphones was kind of booming. And we just took a different approach. And for me, it was all about the price point as well, because, our products, have the highest quality. but the price point is much better than the competition, you know? So for me, I just wanted to make sure we made a product for the people, make sure the prices was right, man, because you can get some high quality, great earbuds, but you don't have to pay, you know, triple the price of what they really cost. So I just think our price point and then our, you know, our marketing template has been working, just tapping in with the people.
And it passed the kids test in my house because I got a pair and they were stolen immediately. So you know they have high quality when it's not the 53-year-old loving them, it's the 11, 17, 20, and 22-year-olds that are stealing them. So they're great stuff.
Yeah, and it's for us, you know, for me, it's about upgrading and about making sure every, you know, 6 months, every year, you know, when we drop our new products or our, you know, our new versions of the earbuds, they just get better and better. It's like a 1983 Mercedes-Benz and a 2021. It's just two different worlds, right? So every year, you know, it's just important for me to continue to upgrade the product, continue to make it better, continue to make the customers happy.
Congratulations. What a great success. I have to pry the earbuds out of my 13-year-old every single night to get him to go to sleep. Anyway, congratulations on your InMotion account.
Thank you. I'm really excited about InMotion because we really hit the ground running with InMotion. We're doing extremely well. We want to do more. I want to show up at stores in the airport. I want to show up at, you know, different places for, you know, for them as well as for us. So we really excited about the future with us and InMotion. InMotion, what up?
It's a lot of space for growth.
I'm a recent fan of your brand, and I saw the stats today where there's been over 100 million revenue in 3-4 years, and I'm just thinking about how big of a Goliath Apple is and how, you know, their AirPods are like one of the biggest chunks of new revenue for them, and most profitable. And I mean, I would love to pick your brain on some of the early challenges you had going to market, because I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, I think for me, I've always had great relationships with a lot of different celebrities and influencers. And so that's always been an extra plus when you get me involved with the marketing, because a lot of my friends always, you know, they tell me what to do better. They give me advice. They help me along the way. I mean, look, we started with 13 SKUs with Raycon Global, and it narrowed down to the earbuds because that's what everybody was really going for. And so for us, you know, our challenge was, okay, let's make all the other products go away, right? And let's only focus on earbuds because that's what people want from us. And so, you know, that was the first challenge. And then the second challenge was really just continuing to stay in everybody's face, continuing to make sure that we had the price point that worked, continue to make sure the customers were happy. I mean, customer service is everything. So we pride ourselves in making sure we reach back out to the customer if they're happy or if they, you know, need extra service. You know, we had to make sure we tap into the customer. So, you know, the challenges every day was that. But again, like, we hit the ground running. We started doing really well, especially when we added on our CMO from Hong Kong. He really helped us drive it with the marketing, just overall from the acquisition side. And brand awareness as well. So, you know, we had a few challenges along the way, just like every business, but we were able to work through them and continue to work it. And look, we got a long way to go, but the machine is running.
I love that you've built the business and you have over 100 million in revenue now. And I love that you said you had 13 SKUs and you changed it just to the AirPods, which I think if you make pizza, you don't need to make pizza and chicken and burgers. It doesn't make sense. You focus on making pizza and make the best pizza. I feel you. So that, I think, entrepreneurs need to hear, because they always try to have a big menu. And when you have a menu of items, you can't do something great. You just do a lot of things good. I love that. What kind of struggles did you have during COVID, during the pandemic, the last, 18 months? Did it hurt your business? What adjustments did you do as an entrepreneur to make sure that your business and your employees were taken care of?
Well, first off, my heart goes out to everybody that went through something in COVID. I know a lot of people lost some great people. We did too. So my condolences and heart goes out to everything that happened in the COVID pandemic, and we're still in it. For us, being that we're earbuds and that people were at home, we saw an increase. We started to do better during COVID. But we ran into like inventory issues a lot because, you know, a lot of people wanted the product. So, you know, getting the inventory here started to become a issue for us, but we were able to work through it. But we saw a big increase during the pandemic, and our main, you know, goal was to make sure we get it out to all the customers so they could have some earbuds, so they could have some products at home, you know, while they were going through the pandemic. So we did see a jump, and it was just on us to make sure we could handle it, you know, handle the orders and make sure our inventory was there for people when they wanted it.
Ray J, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a privilege. We learn so much, and we only pray for your happiness and success, which will be guaranteed. We continue to do the things that you're doing now. Come join us again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Love everybody. Love. Appreciate it. God bless.
Wow. Again, what an episode. Everyone's so different, but yet there's common threads of success. And one of them is believing in what you do and providing value to others. And it's that simple.
And he cares about his customer. He brought up customer service 4 or 5 times. You'll have a lot of entrepreneurs that don't pay attention to that stuff. You know, I've been guilty of that early in my career of like, oh, you got to have that middle part of the business that's important. Not just the sales part, not just the installation or getting them the product part, but the middle part, you know, holding that customer's hand. He cared about that. And he's focused on one thing, not several things in his business, which has allowed him to grow so fast.
Well, we are learning and loving and finding the light here on Office Hours. We have one more guest left here on Office Hours.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back on Office Hours. I'm excited to hear from our next guest, Ja Rule, musician, songwriter, actor, and entrepreneur.
Ja Rule, my friend, welcome from the golf courses. I know they're called mulligans on the golf course, but in life, it's very rare that we get a mulligan. And you and I both have been blessed. We've been blessed with mulligans. So I was hoping that you could share with us a critical mulligan in your life where you were given a second chance and how you turned things around when you were offered that opportunity.
Man, I've had a few mulligans here, you know. Listen, man, you know, old wise guy once told me, man, that you live life in cycles. He told me how the cycles go. It was like from your 20s, from the birth to your 20s, to your 20s to your 40s. So I guess I'm in my second cycle right now, in your 40s to your 60s and 60s to death. which is the cycle I guess we don't want to enter, and nobody wants to enter that cycle. But you know, yeah, man, I've been through some things in my life. Second chances are things that you have to take. You have to take your second chances. Nobody gives them to you, and I think that's the misconception. You know, I think people think that, you know, second chances are given, and they're not. And so you have to really go out and prove to everybody that, you know, I'm that guy that you thought I was. I'm worthy of everything that I'm putting in front of you. And you know, it's tough sometimes, you know, but hey, man, as the saying goes, I can show you better than I can tell you, you know?
Listen, I'm a fan. Holla. I got to hear you do it once. I got to hear you do it.
Hey, holla.
Oh, I love it. You're on the golf course, you know, you're living it up, part of the song, right? And you're in that second cycle, okay? But being an entrepreneur and doing other things, one thing you accomplished recently is you went back to Harvard Business School online and accomplished that.
Yes.
How cool is that to say, look, in this second cycle, something I didn't do in that first cycle, I went back and did that. And how important is that to you?
It was super important to me, you know, because I'm such a stickler when it comes to education on my kids. And, you know, from me being a high school dropout and then having to go get my GED and then going back to school and going back, you know, and going to Harvard, taking my online courses and stuff like that, that's all to show my kids that it's never too late to, you know, achieve. It's never too late to go live out your dreams, or, you know, do the things that you are interested in doing. A lot of opportunities wasn't presented to me when I was younger. You know, education was one of those opportunities, a good education. I took the opportunity to go make money over, you know, going to finishing high school or going to college, because that was more important for me, you know, to make sure that my family was, you know, taken care of. And so sometimes, you know, those things, it plays out backwards, you know. But I like to say sometimes God takes you all the way around the corner just to get you next door. But in my case, I feel like that's it rings true in so many ways, you know.
Yeah, that's inspirational. It's great.
Well, Ja, according to your cycle description, I'm in my third, looking forward to fourth and fifth. But during this cycle, we're helping to rebuild the town. I'm restoring a 1950s drive-in theater with a big stage, and I hear that you have a new app. What's your new app called? And can I book some talent on that app to come to the stage and entertain this town that we're restoring?
Absolutely. My new app, Icon, you know, it's really breaking the mold on how we look at live streaming platforms. I call Icon a live streaming marketplace because it's really about content creators monetizing their content instead of giving it away. And you know, I took it a step further, and you're able to book artists on Icon and book them for live shows or book them for meet and greets, you know, or just to say hi to the kids and wish them luck on the big game or happy anniversary or birthday to the wife or whatever. So, you know, we've created a lot of opportunities for content creators to monetize their brand.
That's amazing. So, Ja, on that topic, I love the business model, and I have to ask this burning question. Have you thought about people being able to purchase NFTs, digital collectibles from these celebrities through your platform?
I don't want to give away what I'm about to do, but I'm bringing a aspect to Icon that's really, really cool. I also have a company called Flipkick, and we do what we call physical NFTs, where we cryptographically, you know, authenticate physical artworks, which is really cool. You know, nobody's really doing that right now except for our company, and we also have a patent pending on that technology. So, you know, hopefully we'll get the patent. But it's so important right now for artists to understand that, you know, NFTs and the way that they're structured, it's a game changer. You know, for artists to be able to, you know, be paid a royalty in perpetuity for their work, it's something that artists have never been able to, you know, touch or receive.
Amazing. So glad to hear that. I saw that you had like a 122K sale of an art NFT for Fire, and I was like getting pumped.
Yeah,
I was
for my Fire painting. Yeah, people are very infatuated still with Fire. I don't know why, but they you know, they're intrigued with the whole event still. I've had guys recently come to me about doing my documentary. They even spoke to me about doing Fire Festival 2, and I said, hey, slow down, guys. Slow down.
You know, Ja Rule, I want to, you know, explore one thing. Since you kind of reverse engineered your education, doing it backwards, where I grew up with a mom, you know, doctor, lawyer, failure. My siblings went to Harvard right out of high school, and Wharton and Columbia. But I always wonder if I would have done it backwards, being an entrepreneur, you know, making money early and not going to school. If I had an opportunity to go back to school after I learned the lessons of emotional intelligence, adaptable intelligence, and entrepreneurship, what courses would mean the most to me, or what courses I would choose. So what course was it that had the most value?
My favorite thing is business. And if you don't know your business, you get taken advantage of. So, you know, I push my kids, whatever their dreams are, whatever their, you know, aspirations are as youthful, young, just, you know, wild dreamers. I always tell them the foundation is business. Know your business.
Know your business, know your math, make a profit, be passionate and purposeful, and that's what I love about you, passion, purpose, and profit.
Math was always one of my favorite subjects in school. I always said, listen, you can't make money if you can't count it, right?
Say hi to my friends there at the golf course. You have been a gentleman and a Harvard scholar by joining us.
Man.
Thank you so much, Ja Rule.
Thank you, Ja Rule.
Thank you, Ja.
Thank you.
Dave, you know I love you, man. You my brother from another. Much love to you, man, and much success on your new show, man. It's really, really dope.
All right, we have the incredible Ja Rule, musician, songwriter, actor, friend, entrepreneur, and math scholar here on Office Hours. Thanks for joining us.
And golfer.
And golfer. Look out, Tiger Woods. He's injured. Look out. Here he comes.
Tiger Woods.
He's on fire. Oh man, I love this show. I love that guy. I love all of our guests.
Good.
And I love my hosts.
Like, I didn't finish traditional high school. I didn't go to college. I've contemplated, like, should I just go back, you know, because it's important to show my kids that. And a part of me wants to. It's a demon I fight, you know, for that. And a part of me is like, well, you know, is it necessary right now? You know, because the way traditional school's done now, a lot of the things you were just talking about, they don't benefit people. You know, I think some of that needs to change. And, you know, but I admire him, and I think that that's really cool. He went and did that,
Me
so
too.
his family can see that. That's cool.
That was great. You know, you can tell he's 100% authentic, and everything he says is just comes from his heart and soul. Mm-hmm. And that's how he's created his success, from being a great person and a leader, and someone that people also want to gravitate towards and be around.
Well, which I see in my vantage point here, likes attract likes, although physically you three look very different, and I'm sure Joni's like, thank goodness. But moreover, I am just so grateful to have such extraordinary hosts with me. The questions you asked and the curiosity and creativity were extraordinary. I know that all of the audience is going to appreciate the lessons they learned from these great entrepreneurs as well. This is David Meltzer with Office Hours.
Now, a quick word from our JA Impact honoree partner, presented by Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Junior Achievement Worldwide prepares young people for employment and entrepreneurship, delivering hands-on experiential learning in work readiness, financial literacy, and entrepreneurship. The recipient of the JA Impact honoree is selected based on their mission-driven values and have the opportunity to align with Junior Achievement Worldwide through their 100 million plus alumni network, driving awareness to their brand through Junior Achievement's millions of entrepreneurs looking to make an impact on the world.
I'm Brittany Yang, co-founder of Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. The Junior Achievement honoree for today's episode is someone who sets a great example for aspiring athletes. CJ McCollum is an amazing basketball player, but he's not one to just shut up and dribble. He's a dedicated philanthropist who is creating a legacy with the way he approaches entrepreneurship. Congratulations, CJ.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of Office Hours, and a special thank you to our featured co-hosts and guests for joining today's episode. See you next week on Office Hours.